As someone who's still trying to figure out my sexual orientation, it's difficult to even consider being with another person because I'm traumatized by my previous relationship where I was pressured into sex. Wow. This is a lot. It's difficult in general experiencing something like that. And I think this person is probably going through a lot of pain and a lot of confusion regardless to sexuality. It's hard to figure out what your sexual orientation is no matter what, especially with something like this happening. And I know a lot of people can relate to it, and no one should have to go through that. Consent is a very important thing.
Do you relate at all to this person's story?
Yeah. And it's a hard thing to talk about. It's something a lot of people politicize. I don't know a lot of people that it's happened to. And it's heartbreaking. I think they can hopefully find some closure. You're unbelievably strong. I'm proud of you. I'm genuinely proud of you for getting as far as you have. Like, I wish I could give them a hug, and I wish I could be there for them.
Recently, my father and I started watching more TV and movies together, but whenever there is an actor that represents the LGBT community on screen, he makes fun of them. He doesn't know I'm gay. I mean, I can relate to that one. My parents aren't particularly that open-minded. I mean, I'm bisexual. Sometimes like seeing really good representation and then hearing like someone you really look up to, like your parents, is like beaten down, it can like kind of stump you. So it's hard to see them react like that knowing how I orient. So it's difficult, but yeah.
My mom has been dating her boyfriend for several months, and I've grown really close to him. He's known that I'm in a lesbian relationship, and we recently had a conversation about the LGBT community. He expressed that he believes homosexuality is immoral, so I asked him if he thinks my relationship is wrong. His answer was yes, and I feel like our relationship will never be the same knowing his position on this part of who I am. It's really sad and sometimes unmotivating when someone you look up to and someone who you're so close to disapproves of who you are as a person. Even if you are close to him, it really shouldn't matter what he thinks. It really should not be up to them, to how you view yourself. And if they think that it's immoral, they can keep on thinking that it's immoral or that it's wrong, but you are who you are.
My family is missing out on a big part of my life because I can't talk to them about my gay relationship. That's really sad because being in a relationship is something that's so important, but when you feel as if you're in a gay relationship and can't talk about your emotions, I really feel for this person. I am straight, but what ultimately I'm seeing is that like being Indian American, I've often gone through a lot of struggles where people have never understood my racial identity. And for this person, I can only imagine it'd be worse because, unlike me, it's blatant that I'm Indian. But for this person, it's not.
In the 9th grade, I came out to my parents as asexual. They told me that asexuality wasn't a real thing. And over the years, people that I cared about have told me that I would eventually become gay or that liking girls is a sin. I've been invalidated and shamed for my identity. That one's really hard, especially the part where they say that it's not a real thing, because people say that about a lot of sexualities, even like people within the LGBT community, especially when it comes to asexuality and bisexuality, stating that it doesn't exist. I'm sorry you have to go through that. I can relate to that because my parents told me that being liberal is just a phase, and that once I grew up, I'd be more conservative and Republican, but that's not my beliefs. That's not who I am. And so I understand that invalidation, and I would say it's cheesy, but don't let other people bring you down.
When I came out as gay to some of my friends that I really trusted in middle school, they ended up bullying me for the rest of the year. I suffered from depression, and this taught me that not everyone will accept me for who I am. Towards the end of 11th grade, I came out as bi-curious, but everybody has been like, oh, okay, chill. But probably back in middle school, I would be scared too. I probably would have never even thought of it coming out. They trusted them. Like, I hope that now they've accepted themselves, because that's more important than anything else. I hope that they've felt better about themselves and they found a place here. You did the right thing by coming out. Like, that's part of you, who you are, that you were very, very brave.
I'm a transgender guy, and every time I see my grandmother, she tries to pressure me to wear dresses and grow my hair out. She always tells me that I'm a pretty little girl and that I need to start looking like one. Actually, you don't. Okay. If she knew I'm trans, she would probably blame my mom for corrupting me and attempt to have me taken away from my parents. Well, I'm really sorry that it's happening to you. I mean, my mom, she personally doesn't like that I'm not straight, and so for a while I thought she was going to send me to conversion therapy. I'm really sorry that it's happening. I don't really know what to say.
On June 26, 2015, I found out that all 50 states had legalized gay marriage. My dad told me that it was nothing to celebrate and that it was a civil decline. I had drawn a rainbow on my arm that day, but my mom told me to cover it up before we went out so that I wouldn't be attacked. I think it's very sad that we would attack each other based on who we love. If other people you look up to or people you live with don't feel the same, it's none of their business what you believe is right.
I'm in a lesbian relationship, but I don't feel comfortable holding my girlfriend's hand in public because people give us dirty looks. People giving you dirty looks shouldn't limit you to showing affection to other people, especially if you're comfortable enough in the relationship with your significant other. I think you should be able to express that in a way that people shouldn't care. It shouldn't be that way, because if you saw two people of the opposite gender holding hands in public, people wouldn't think anything of it. This is an issue, and it needs to stop. It makes me feel embarrassed, in a way, that people treat other people with that much disrespect. You should express your feelings if you want to express your feelings in public.
I first came out to my friends as bisexual in the 10th grade. I had internalized homophobia for a long time, and I even came close to killing myself after my parents' divorce. When I finally came out to my parents, they were so angry that for a while I had to spend the night with my friends just to avoid them. Wow. The small thought that you even have to get away from your parents because of that, or that you have to get away, either physically go to somebody else's house or get away and then killing yourself, is crazy. I don't want anybody to ever feel that way. I probably just give him a hug. I'd be like, if you ever need me, bro. I'm like, come on. The only thing I can really relate to this is my parents are divorced, and sometimes it is hard. We were all affected by it and still are affected, and it's only recently started to come to a breaking point where we're not all agreeing with each other anymore. I'm straight, so I really can't say anything about the bisexuality or anything. Sometimes I do question, we're still learning and growing, so a big part of life is going through who makes you happy, so there's still room for growing.
Never doubt yourself because of how your parents see things.
We live in a world that what makes you different is something you need to embrace.
And you don't have to figure out your sexual orientation. If it's just a big question mark, that's okay. It doesn't need a label. You feel feelings and you don't have to put it in a box.
Just be yourself.
Love is love. It doesn't have a gender, because if you're happy, you're happy. You can't let other people jeopardize your happiness.
And you should never be ashamed. Find that support group because it can be hard, but don't give up.
If you don't like what someone's telling you, then just ignore them. If they're pulling you down, then just pretend that they're not there and stand back up.
There are spaces for you and that people around the world are going to care about you.
At least you have love in your life, unlike the haters. So just keep your head up.